Well, Jerome Ebenezer Scrooge Powell left us a lump of coal on Wednesday, and we really got whacked hard, 716 points on the Nasdaq. And what we wanted to see is the index rally about half of that, maybe 350 points today, and didn't come close to that. Just a feeble little weak attempt at a bounce, and then a sell off into the close, down 20 points or 0.1%. Today closed at 19,372. One silver lining is it didn't undercut the low from yesterday, which was 19,336. The low today was 357. 336 undercuts the 19,366 by 30 points. That was the high on this right after the election there on November 11th. Sold off down to the 21. That's what you want to see as support. And then we've had this rally, nice rally here. And what we wanted to see is the Nasdaq, rally back through these moving averages and recapture half of the losses, and it didn't do it. So that is even more of a caution sign. Besides that, the leaders are not acting well. A lot of things that are, it was tough to buy anything, as the index was going higher and we were rallying. It was just hard to make any new buys. And that was another tell that the index was, it's just getting a little stretched. Even, we knew it was, 6%, 6.6% above the 50. And so it's come down now, the rising 50 here, still on a power trend. I heard some people questioning that, the power trend ends when the 21 undercuts the 50, but we're going to be out of everything before that happens. If it happens. Today, the Nasdaq closed 1.9% above this rising 50. So a trip to the 50 is, I would say that would be my expectation at this point. If we take a look at the 5-minute chart, you can see the waterfall, selling. It looks like they just turned on the sell programs and sold into the close. And today we got this feeble little dead cat bounce, and then look at this close, just selling the last hour and a half into the close, 2 hours just selling. So weak market. It was a little stretched, a little frothy. I'm going to get to that. There was a lot of froth in this market. So Powell knocked off the froth for sure, and there's a lot of stuff going down with it in the Nasdaq. But got to take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which is down 10 days in a row and snapped that streak with a whopping 15-point gain today. So the 10-day losing streak is over, and it was up with 23% above the average volume. So I got to go back to the Nasdaq and point out the volume. I skipped that. The volume was above average, 17% above the 50-day average, but way below the last two distribution days. So not a distribution day today. Tomorrow's quad witching, and we have the inflation data, so could be more coal in the stocking along the way. Just never know. You got to wait and see. The SPY today, to get back half of that gain. I wanted to see this thing challenge. I better go to the S&P 500 index, not the ETF. Yeah, I want to see it challenge a 6,000 level, but you can see what happened here is it rallied up to the 50, then got rejected, and then closed near the lows of the session. So that looks like a short right there. It looks very bearish. When it's getting rejected at the moving average. Here's your waterfall sell-off. Then, the gap up, I wouldn't call it a gap up. It traded higher in the morning and just sold off. There's your rejection. A couple times there at 519, 59.19, 59.18, and then closing at 58.67. So yeah, the rejection at the 50 is real. And then the Russell 2000, yeah, geez. Risk off. I guess that's what you could say is risk off on the that index. So the IWM is just big volume selling, lots of distribution. So anyway, all right, I got to go to my Batman trade, Broadcom. Now it sold off 3 days in a row, which it was it had a big move, right? It was up 24% and then, followed through an 11% move. What was that, last Friday or Monday? The 16th. So that was Monday, and then sold off the last 3 days. Still well above its 10 EMA here, 4.2% above the 10. So, I would imagine that it would come down to the 10. It's a fast rising 10 before it finds support. And what we want to see is these leading stocks here finding support at moving averages and then bouncing off the support. And this one's still extended here, well above the 10. So another stock that has shown strength is Apple. It was bounced off its 10 today. Not a bad day. It was up, 0.75%, not bad. I mean, it's been a really strong stock. There you can see the sell-off on Wednesday, and then yeah, not a bad day today. I mean, Apple is kind of like a flight to safety. When everything's going bad, just buy Apple. Dive into the it's kind of a defensive name, a default. If you have to own something, own Apple. Tesla, part of my Batman trade. Uh, Once again, this one came down to a moving average, and then it undercut the moving average. And then, I'd say it found support and bounced there. It came down to 420 where the 10 was 426 and a quarter and a half, right? So it came down below it, undercut it, found support and bounced. Not bad. I mean, from 420 to 36, $16 move up after hours. This is what you want to see here in a leading stock. Pull back to a moving average support, and tomorrow it's got to bounce. It would be nice if it made it above today's high, which is what, 456. We'll see about that. Even if it just had an inside day, bounced a little bit, above, I don't know, 445, something. Anyway, Tesla looks pretty good. Meta platforms, like I said, if you can't make money in these big names, with the AI revolution, it's going to be hard to make money on the laggards. Meta's a leading stock, pull back to its 21, closed 1.2% below the 21. So that's a little look below. It could definitely rally tomorrow. I like that it's returned to that 602.95 buy point, giving people, another chance to get in because it had rallied from 549 all the way up to like 638. Yeah. So yeah, that's giving you a chance to get in here. It's got to bounce though. I mean, we got to see some buyers coming in, and we're not seeing that yet. You got to be from Missouri. They got to show me, right? Microsoft was down as well today. I'd call that flat. Just pull back to the 21 squatting on the 21, 0.2% below the 21. I'd call that right at the 21. Microsoft, we go to Amazon, which has enjoyed a really nice run. Pull back to its 21 yesterday, had an inside day today. So Amazon, really strong stock. And then Google, Alphabet, had this cup with handle, broke out and just returned near its moving average. Excuse me, it returned near its pivot point, which coincides with its moving average. Didn't bounce much today, it's about as flat as a pancake. So we're looking for a bounce tomorrow there. The 10 yesterday was 187. The 10 today was what, 187.56. So it was going up about 20 cents a day, a quarter. Anyway, yeah, so that's an area of interest, the 187 level. 187, 188, because we need to see a bounce off that 10. So yeah, it broke out and then pulled back to its moving average. In this tape, not bad at all. And NVIDIA is the last one. This thing, I can't really get into this unless it rallies through these moving averages. You can see the 10 and the 21 are curling lower. This thing's just been handling out for a long, long time. Inside day today, rejected at the 10 there, which was 134.04, and the high was 134.03. So to the penny, that thing got rejected. Let's see a look at the 5 minute. I think it was the middle of the day. Yeah, right here, made that high, sold off into the close. You don't want to see that. The close is what's important. That's kind of the institutional investors giving their showing their hand. All right, enough of that nonsense. Let's go to some of the other semiconductor names. MRVL pull back to the 21. That's what you want to see, a nice little bounce. The 21 yesterday was at 105.06, closed today at 109. So $4 move, it's more than 3%. That's a decent bounce. And then a risk, a, Astera Labs, just doing what it normally does, right? I mean, this looks totally in character. I mean, if you're just looking at how this thing has performed as it pulls back to moving averages and then pops and then pulls back to moving averages and then pops. It's been doing this for a long time. Now, it had been, finding support at the 10, moves up, pulls back, made a nice little rally here, then pulled back. And today, bounced off the 10 here. If you own this, then this is doing nothing wrong here. This is what leaders are supposed to do right here in a downtrending market. Today the 10 was 122.91 and the low was 119. So it undercut the 10, bounced and closed it above 125. So that's $6 above the 10, a fast rising 10, as you can see. But this is what leaders are supposed to do, right? Yeah, they're going to sell off, but they're going to find support. They're going to stabilize and they're going to bounce. And hopefully this one bounces tomorrow or, the next day or, next week, I should say, because tomorrow's quad witching. It's going to be pretty volatile tomorrow. 8% off the highs. This is, a nice looking classic IPO base breakout. And it's in its institutional advanced phase. So, I don't expect it to get back to, what is that, 138 or 136? 136.39. So I don't expect to get tomorrow, but I expect to bounce there. Maybe next week you could take out that high. Yeah, next week's Christmas. Yippee-ki-yay. So it's going to be a short holiday trading week. Ho, ho, ho. All right. That's it for the semiconductor names. I've got to get to some of the EPS reports this morning because Micron just really stunk it up. This was actually last night. They reported CEO had said that, that all businesses were on fire at the last earnings report, and it turns out at this report it wasn't. And then he says, no, things are good, and we're gonna be doing okay. We're firing on all cylinders in 2025. So he lost a little bit of credibility, and the market just sold off today, 16%. I thought 88 would hold, it didn't. So maybe it'll come down to 84. I don't know what the low was today. Yeah, 84.61. So back at these old, lows, retesting these lows there at the 84 level. So this thing is in timeout now for a while. So anyway, ACN reported this morning, and nice move here, 7% move, still consolidating within a base. If you take a look at this, cup with handle pattern, that looks pretty darn good. That's Computer Tech Services, which is a pretty strong group. PAYX reported this morning. Yeah, rejected at the 50. That doesn't look good at all. Who else reported? Oh, a couple of stinkers here. CTAS, yikes. Undercut to 21, so somebody didn't like that report. And then Lamb Weston, the French fry company from Eagle, Idaho. Got some friends out in Eagle. Um, yeah, it's out by Boise area. Nobody's eating French fries anymore, I guess, down 20%. And that one's having a hard time. So, all right, that's it for the earnings. I'm going to get to a couple of little groups that I like, starting off with retail. Walmart, a leader, it's a leading stock, and it's holding up well. This is what you want leaders to do. This is no panic here. It just sold off a little bit, pulling back gently, not going crazy. Let's go here to, it was flat today, by the way, but it's only 2.9% off the high. Whereas, yeah, so that's holding up well. Walmart, Deckers had a nice day today. It might have a nice day tomorrow, I have a feeling. And this one is just a super strong stock. And this is what you want to see. Pull back to the 10, then support. Had an inside day today and closed above the 10. So if you own Deckers, you're sitting pretty with that one. There's no panic or no reason to make any moves with Decker. That one looks darn good. OLLI, I did see where OLLI made another new high today. Very nice, well above its 10 after this gap higher following earnings last week. This thing's just quietly grinding higher. Yeah, 13% move, not to be ignored. Didn't even come close to undercutting the low of that day, which is 106.90. It keeps making higher highs, higher lows. So that looks pretty darn good in the retail space. KMX. Oh yeah, they reported this morning. Nice response, right? Breakout from this cup with handle pattern. Nice 3.5% move. Retail automobile stock down on the week though. It's down on the week and yeah, made a new high today. I don't see how I could be down on the week. What's wrong with markets, sir? Just not down on the week. Not at all. This one says it's down 2.3% this week, so something's wrong with this thing. Oh well, we're not all perfect. Anyway, it's definitely not down on the week. Anyway, all right. And the last one is, oh, since Dr. No rejected the Kate Spade coach deal with Michael Kors, Capri, Jimmy Choo, Tapestry's done well. Just pulled back to its 10 EMA, found support. And that's what you want to see with your stock. And it just closed today right at the 10. So Tapestry looks pretty darn good, showing strength in this total weakness of tape. All right, got to get on to the next theme, and that's this electrical power theme. And these stocks are out of love. I would think that Vistra would have been bought into the year end. One of the top performing stocks in the S&P this year, and it just undercut the 50, and that does not look good. I thought I was going to rally through it today, and then it just got rejected. You can easily see that, and that looks like a short there, where what was once support now becomes resistance here. You can see it was support here, and it was support here, and then now, oops, resistance. And probably heading south here. I'm not going to short that, though. I'm going to kind of lay low here. GEV, this is kind of what you want to see out of your leaders. It pulled back to its 50 for the first time since this breakout, believe it or not, way back in summer months. I mean, it really started its massive run here back in August, man, had a nice run up to 357. Now pulled back to the 50 yesterday. And this is what you're supposed to do. 314 yesterday, bounced in 5%, closed at 332. So nearly a $20 move. So that looks good for GEV. And I think I'm gonna, the data center play here, VRT. This one came back to its 50 and it did not bounce. It sliced to 50. So that's coming out of our leading stock list. So that looks bad there. Really good company. Really, it was a really strong stock. And it'll be back. It's just got to do some basing. And yeah, all right. That's the last of that. I'm gonna move on. Oh yeah, power names of heavy construction. This is Sterling undercut the 50 and rallied back up to it today and got rejected. So a lot of these stocks are doing this. Once they're below the 50, that's resistance. Quanta is right at the 50 here, so it's got to get support and bounce. You can see it's been a source of support, several times, and the more often you revisit this area, the least likely chance that it's going to be support. And one of these times it's going to crack through there. So power is one to watch to the downside. And then PRIM, another one of these, it's Primoris, one of the top stocks in this group, which has been a top group, still hanging in there. An inside day today. It was up, nearly 3%. And closed just, I'd say, right at its 10 right there. So any stock holding the 10 or above the 10 is strong stock in this current tape. Man, it's changed quick, didn't it? All right. This is app 11. Once again, this one made this high and then pulled back. It's 21. It's just kind of squatting there. Today closed 1.3% below the 21. So it needs to bounce. It looked like it was going to bounce this morning, got up to like over 330. Here's your move in the morning, 331, and just sold off the rest of the day. So not good on the 5-minute chart for app 11. Oh, Palantir, definitely a strong stock. Another one of these leaders, right? It's holding above the 10. Had an inside day as well, because yesterday was a big bar yesterday. As we all know, this one was up, yeah, nearly 4% today. So Palantir looks good. Another software name, GoDaddy, doing what it's supposed to do, right? Pull back to its 21 yesterday. Had an inside day. It's not much of a bounce, 1.5%, but it's holding above the 200 level, holding above the 21, 1.4% above the 21. So GoDaddy looks pretty good. And then KVYO, this is one of these, I guess you'd call it, yeah, IPO stock. If we look at the weekly here, yeah. So here's your cup with handle, and this just broke out this week, up nearly 10% in this really challenging week this week. So that one's definitely showing relative strength. Didn't even pull back to its 10. And then BRZE, I'm just showing this one because I like the setup. BRZE is the ticker symbol. And you can see why, this is a nice cup shape, symmetrical shape pattern. It's surfing, it's 10 on the way up, building the right side of its base. Kind of tight here, volume, kind of the stock is tightening up with volume drying up. I like this chart a lot. I don't like the tape right now. New buys, I've been saying it for a long time. New buys have just been really challenging. And now after yesterday's move, I think any new buy within like the last few weeks is underwater. But this is why I like BRZE. It's a stage one base. Now it's been up like every week for the last 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah, like 10 weeks, right? As it builds the right side of the base. So it's going to need to let some air out here and pull back a little bit before it breaks out. So maybe we'll get that in the next couple of sessions. A little light volume pulling back, and then maybe next week it could show up on our ready list. It looks pretty good. Anyway, I'm going to move on to the restaurant names. Bros, Dutch Bros, hanging in there. Pull back to the 21 and had an inside day today. That's showing good strength here. Brinker International made a new high today, so that one's definitely showing strength. Not a lot of stocks making new highs today. And let me see, the last one in this group is DRI. They reported this morning. Thank you very much. Finally, we get a breakout, 15% move higher, breaking out of this cup with handle pattern, which is easier to see on this weekly chart. There's your cup, there's your handle, the elongated handle, and then here's your breakout. Big range here on this bar here between a 159 and 188. That's a $30 range. So anyway, looks good for Darden Restaurants, which reported this morning and had some accelerating sales and earnings numbers. So congrats to the longs there, a nice 15% move. All right, I'm going to move on. Just a couple of names that I like. Viking is in the boomer spending theme, and this one pulled back to its 50. It didn't bounce much, but it didn't fall through either. It bounced a little bit, and then Booking, another name in that group. Didn't even pull back to the 50, just had an inside day today, but definitely not out of the woods. Needs to recapture those moving averages. I think it's CCL that reports tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow morning, so we'll look forward to that. Just an inside day today. And then a Norwegian Cruise, which had raised guidance last week, I believe, undercut the 50, and now the 50 looks like it's resistant. So tough tape. For sure. I got to mention the Bitcoin. Bitcoin just fell apart. I don't get it. The Fed lowered interest rates. Bitcoin was at like 108 early in the week. I think it closed today about 96. MicroStrategy crashing through its moving averages, just a tick above the 50 now, 3.9% above the 50. IBIT is the ETF that tracks Bitcoin. Down below it's 21 now. I have friends that all they do is trade crypto, and they're crying about Solano. Solano's crashing. It's like, I don't even know what that stuff trades on. I barely even know what Bitcoin trades on. So anyway, the Bitcoin trade, no bueno. Oh, you want to hear some other pain? Let's take a look at some of these quantum stocks. Yeah, they went up fast, but down 40% today is quantum QMCO, QUBT. Another quantum computing name down 41% today. And you know what goes up must come down when they're just riding on fumes. This one had a good day today. It was only down 30%. D-Wave. You know this is coming, right? And I'm sure it's not over. And they might bounce, but they're coming back to earth, folks. Yeah, another 27%. And then Rigetti, which had had a meteoric rise and now an epic fail, down yesterday, 3%, followed through today to the tune of 30%. So anyway, oh, a couple more names I got to look at since I'm in leaders, just random. Reddit. I like Reddit. Reddit's just a strong stock. This one, you know, is a character. This one's a real scrappy stock. It's just a grinder. Gapped higher, and now it's just trying to hold on to the 10, and then today undercut the 10 and closed right at it there. So we'll see what it does tomorrow. DoorDash, it traded down to its 50 yesterday. Want to see a little bit of a bounce today. Didn't get much, but it closed above the 50. So it's yeah, 0.7% above the 50. Got to watch that one. And then Netflix. I don't even know what Netflix did. I just wrote it down. One of the leading stocks. Pull back to the 21 on Wednesday, inside day today. So anyway, thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up, except for in honor of the great Steve Jobs. I have two more things. One is Nike earnings, which it's up nearly 6% after hours. They beat on earnings, they beat on sales. You know, it's a better than feared report, I guess. They're not knocking it out of the park when the China economy is, you know, kind of slow. So to have a beat number, that's pretty good for the new CEO. And then FedEx reported tonight. And they're going up on they're going to spin off their FedEx freight business. So the market likes that. So I think those two stocks, you know, could help the market around Nike, certainly in the retail shoes group, Deckers, Crocs, Skechers, On Holdings. You got to look at that group. And with this group, you know, it's ODFL, Old Dominion. You got, okay, UPS, obviously. So maybe some of the trucking stocks and the freight stocks uh, on the FedEx news. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. At mcstockcharts.com, we never give up. Remember, tomorrow's quad witching is going to be volatile. Like this week hasn't been volatile enough. Next Wednesday, I think, you know, Wednesday's Christmas. So it's going to be a lower volume week, a holiday shortened week. We'll be off Wednesday. I think, I don't know if there's a half a day, Thursday and Friday, but it's going to be holiday type trading into the year end. And the Santa Rally, I believe, starts the 27th, which is next Friday, through I think like January 4th, the first couple trading sessions of January. So maybe some Santa can bring us some cheer after Jerome Powell, the Grinch, the Ebenezer Scrooge left us some coal in our stockings. But we'll survive. There's a lot of themes that I'm going to get to on my weekend video because those themes are still intact. Your AI revolution, that's not going anywhere. Your weight loss drugs, they're going to rebound. Um, your data center play, definitely. Your power, you know, this power, need for power is going to go on for 10, 15, 20 years. So they might be down and out now, but that's just temporary short term. You know, your hardware and software names, you know, I'm going to go through this on my weekend video and kind of stretch out a little bit and spend some time on maybe what could be advantageous for us in 2025. But a little bit of turbulence now, a little bit of uncertainty for sure. And we're just gonna have to fight through it. If you got stopped out of your stocks, you know, I wouldn't advise just jumping right back in. Just that's telling you to stay out, settle down, observe the market, journal your trades. You know, hopefully you had winning trades on that, you know, big rally on the Nasdaq when we stepped on the gas for a long, long time. You know, that's a long rally here that we were in. So, you know, hopefully you did well. We don't want to give it back here. If this thing decides to cut the, you know, to down to the 50 or even slice through the 50, you don't want to give it back. So don't fight the tape. You know, the trend is our friend, and the trend, you know, may be bending here at the end. So you got to practice risk management. If you get stopped out, don't just jump in, be crazy about it. Uh, count your blessings, take your profits. Maybe it's a good time to, which I think a lot of institutions are, is just calling it a year and just selling out. So yeah, if you had a good year, you don't want to give it back here at the end. So thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up.